The build-up of the Monaco GP has been dominated by two significant headlines. The first is that of Honda's official return to the F1 world, and that finally Mercedes has brought their B-spec upgrades, which their fans hope will propel them to the front of the pack, or at least make them competitive. Now, one man that doesn't mind airing his opinions is Red Bull's Christain Horner, with the Brit having a rather shocking opinion on both Mercedes upgrades and Honda's latest decision to partner with Aston Martin. Want to know what Horner said? Well, stick around to find out. F1 is back after enforced 2-week break for all the right reasons. The majestic Monaco GP brings the racing back to our screens, a much maligned race, but one where most people think that this is where we may see another team other than Red Bull in P1. The team that will be looking to do this will be Mercedes, with the team bringing significant upgrades to the racetrack. According to the FIA report, Mercedes has a new front suspension, front fences, side pod inlet, engine cover, rear wing and rear corner. As per the FIA explanation, when it comes to the revised side pods, the description read that it's to improve flow to the floor edge, which results in more floor load and also proved flow to the rear corner. Now, I guess the biggest question that everyone really wants to be answered is whether these upgrades will really work. I think we're all a bit tired of hearing about these magical upgrades, with many Silver Arrow fans just wanting to see their car at the front of the pack. Well, as per usual, the ever-optimistic Toto Wolff has told Mercedes fans not to get too excited. It won't be a silver bullet. From my experience, they do not exist in our sport. We hope that it gives the drivers a more stable and predictable platform. Then we can build on that in the weeks and months ahead, Toto said about the Mercedes upgrades for Monaco. Now, let's be honest, Toto has to say that. He can't come out and say that suddenly the team will be at the front of the pack and beat Red Bull. Still, one thing we are sure of is that if we had the shares Toto had in Mercedes, we would be doing everything in our power to make sure that Mercedes starts to compete for pole position. However, Horner seems to think that there may be another issue that Mercedes will face. So I guess with all the changes, will the Mercedes start to be competitive? We can't answer that, and we probably won't even know that until later in the season, as Monaco is not the best place to bring upgrades. But Sky Sports' Ted Kravitz does think there has been some significant changes to the car. My instinct reaction is that it's a compromise. It's neither a Red Bull nor an Aston Martin. It's neither magical nor muggle. The most visual changes to the side pods. The no pods are no more. The slimmed-down side pods have gone. Instead, we have these chunky side pods, but the car is somewhat compromised because they have to keep their side impact structure. It has to stay on the Mercedes because that's where they had it with the no pods, said Kravitz. It has been no hidden secret that where the Red Bull has a significant advantage is in the floor of the car and its ability to generate downforce. Most teams cannot really come close to the Red Bull, and that is where Ted thinks most of the changes come. But the side pods are not where the performance is. The performance comes from the floor. The floor is new, and that's where the downforce is generated. To keep the floor in the perfect attitude, they have redesigned the front suspension with a higher top wishbone and lower leg rear wishbone to have more of the anti-dive properties that we've seen work so well on the RB19, said Kravitz. And so, there you have it. The Mercedes seemed to have inspired its design from both Aston and Red Bull. I mean, Ted was pretty friendly about the Mercedes upgrades. Martin Brundle was slightly harsher, with the former racing driver calling the car Frankenstein and saying that it won't win many beauty pageants. To be fair, I don't think Mercedes fans will care about how it looks, but rather that it just performs on the track. Now, you don't become a team principal of any major F1 team by not having a keen eye for detail and looking at the bigger picture, and that is precisely what Horner has done with his latest comments about Mercedes' latest upgrades. The budget cap needs no introduction, and in particular to Red Bull fans or Aston Martin fans, but everyone seems to forget that they also breached the budget cap. But that's for another time. However, that is exactly what Horner was quick to point out about Mercedes upgrades. The team boss's press conference, Horner was asked about Mercedes' massive upgrades. To be honest, I haven't had an in-depth look at the upgrade. Visually, they look a bit different, but sometimes visual things have the least performance impact. It is what is underneath or the finer detail that has the biggest impact. And Horner does not think the upgrades Mercedes has brought will benefit the German team's budget. They have brought a significant number of parts, so they must have spent a significant part of their budget ceiling on this upgrade. It's up to a team how well they apply it, said the Red Bull team boss. Now, we are not sure that Horner should be commenting about anyone's budget, as we all know what happened last year. Moving on though, unless you have been under a rock, then you would have heard that Honda has signed up with Aston Martin for the 2026 Formula 1 season. The Silverstone-based team is taking its engine building into its own hands. Personally, I think it's a genius move for Aston. They will be getting a wealth of F1 experience and will now be able to build an engine that fits their car. And don't forget, they have Dan Fallows, who will be very used to working with Honda. Even Max has admitted that it's a shame that they will be losing Honda as a partner. From our side, of course, it's a bit unfortunate how all of that turned out, because a few years ago they said they were going to stop. So then Red Bull sets up its own engine division, and then at one point they said, "No, we continue." Unfortunately, once you're already in the process of building a whole engine yourself, you can't really work together anymore. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, I would say, said Verstappen. Honda announced in October 2020 that it would withdraw from F1 and being Red Bull's official engine partner at the end of the 2021 season, but then agreed to continue to supply engines as a paid contractor from 2022 to 25. As a result of Honda's decision to exit F1, Red Bull Powertrains was set up to enable the team to build its own engines for 2026, while a partnership to work alongside Ford on the project was announced in February. Would we have made a same decision knowing what Honda's decision is today? Absolutely not. But we've made it and we're committed to it. The more we've got involved, the more benefit we see to the group long term, Horner said after first practice at the Monaco Grand Prix on Friday. And it does seem like Red Bull has ultimately outgrown Honda. If you want to be truly competitive, you need to be creating your own powertrains. Both Mercedes and Ferrari do this. If you want to be a big player, then that is one of the big moves you have to make, with Horner alluding to this in the latest press conference. For the long term, the prospects of Red Bull, we've outgrown being a customer. For us to have the power unit on site with the chassis, the synergies that creates, with engine and chassis engineers sitting next to each other, the advantages are significant. We would not have made that jump if it had not been for Honda's withdrawal. We should be grateful to Honda for giving us that push to create our own engine facility, the jobs it's created, and then the partnership that we have with Ford. That's particularly exciting for the future, Horner said. And now not only are Aston Martin happy with Honda, but Stefano Domenicali is just as excited, with the head of F1 calling it exciting and saying with Formula 1 pushing towards an attempt to be carbon neutral by 2030, Honda has been attracted back. And Domenicali believes their return shows the sport is moving in the right direction. It is great news for Formula 1 that Honda will partner with Aston Martin to supply power units from 2026. This is further evidence that our global platform and growth provides brands with huge potential, and it also shows that our plans to move to sustainable fuels in 2026 is the right approach to offer the automotive world alternative solutions to decarbonize the planet. We can all see the incredible commitment Aston Martin has made to our sport, and we can't wait to see the exciting partnership in action. And I want to congratulate both parties on this exciting news, said Domenicali.